Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Robert Turner, and this is our inaugural video podcast under the title we're calling Gov Con Answers, and where we discuss data and market context within the GovCon market. I'm joined by my brother Jim. Jim, who today, sunny Southern California, right on the way to Texas.
Right on the way to Texas. Beautiful day today and excited to be here. Been dealing with data for almost 3 decades now, and the GovCon data is quite vast, and it's exciting to be mining it for your good use.
Yeah, good. So what we thought we'd do today is we've launched a new webinar series that starts next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we're going to run it in the initial round for 3 weeks. Week 1, we're going to deal with healthcare data. We're going to look at HHS and Veterans Affairs. Week 2 is Army versus Navy on Tuesday and Thursday of the first week of June. And then during the second week of June, on the 8th and the 10th, we're going to deal with Air Force and then look at DOD's fourth estate agencies. So trying to cover the highlights and look at some of the larger agencies and offices in the federal government and see what the data tells us. In those or in these webinars, we're going to show and pull observations and conclusions from a new set of reports that we've developed that look at complete sets of department data, hundreds of thousands of rows in many cases. And we're using some very common tools, but I think we're able to very quickly come to some really great conclusions that accelerate everyone's understanding of any particular market you're going after, as well as give you specific data points that you can build capture plans around. So kind of in preparation for this new webinar series, which we're both looking forward to, and we have several clients that are looking forward to it as well, we thought we'd start this little podcast series by giving everyone kind of a tour of what we're doing. So let me share my screen here, and then we'll get started. So this is our current version of the HHS report. And Jim, this is all of the funding actions that come out of HHS, and this is with the recent update from our data source.
This is with the recent May update. What you're looking at is HHS department data coming from funding agency. If you take a tour of USA Spending, every once in a while, you'll see the names funding agency and awarding agency. So we'll use them to stay consistent. This spreadsheet has hundreds of thousands of rows and comes from a database that came from USA Spending, and we get monthly updates. And there is a ton of data. I remember a time in high school when we were goofing around with numbers and we would fantasize over a large number. We called it a quadrillion. Well, today that's just a petabyte, which is not too far away. With all this data we're storing, our database is nearing 1.5 terabytes of data. So we're happy to be able to share it with you.
Yeah, so this is good. You know, you said this got hundreds of thousands. This particular one has 227,000. I believe our Army report has 400 and some odd thousand. And so those are, talk about this whole thing we're doing with Mod Zero, Jim, and how we're able to pull in the contract awards and create a large, albeit a large data set, but something that's still manageable.
As many of you know, the data that exists in the government is vast. And one of the main reasons it's vast is because there can be multiple, sometimes 20, 30, 40 task orders off of a given contract. And the contracts are defined by the modification number 0. If you've been on the FPDS filter, there is that choice for modification number, and 0 is the parent record. Well, there's also tens of modifications of that given record for different things. We have excluded those because they only drill down into the very detail of the contract. It is best to see the contract at the beginning and not get bogged down into millions of rows of data that all describe variations of the same thing.
Yeah, and so then that's a great point. And so I think what we've also found is that with any modern computer built or purchased in the last probably 5 years, the machine I'm on here, I bought in 2016. I have maxed out the memory, but even with these very large spreadsheets, you can see I'm only using 10 gigabytes of memory, and Excel here, even with this sheet, is still not quite at 500 megabytes. So our modern computers can handle these big files, and by looking at the entire file, we're able to drill down and find exactly what we want. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So what I did was I generated a pivot table on our big data set and created some filters up here. So pivot tables allow you to filter the data, which is just a fancy word for a query. And these are all and operations. So it's department, agency. I selected award. I selected the 5415 NAICS codes to pull most of the IT type of contracts. And then we went to pull all the set-asides, so all the small business and socioeconomic set-asides. So we excluded all the large business contracts. And then what I did was I double-clicked on this one of these summary cells down here and generated a subtable. So now I've got a table I can build pivots on just on the IT contracts that came out of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So when we do that for CDC, I mislabeled this. Let me fix that. For CDC, then we can generate some additional pivot tables that show us a number of things that are very interesting. So the first thing to see here is here's a very quick and easy way to see at CDC over the last 5 or so years who are the big winners in terms of small business contracts. These are the big guys, which means if you're going after work, these guys might be either great competitors or good teammates. Also, if you scroll down and see some of these guys down here have maybe some smaller contracts, might make great CTA partners, might be open for joint ventures, but have work at this agency. If CDC is someplace you're going after, you'd be good to maybe think about these guys. And then, one of the things we've been talking to our customers about that we're going to be including in our new Fed pipeline application is the ability to quickly identify specific opportunities and set-asides, including simplified acquisition. And Jim, I think that's going to be an easy thing for us to do once we get Fed pipeline into beta.
Simplified acquisition is a very simple query. Once we've got it, it's a filter. Identify the column, and we have access to all the data. One note is this data that we're showing you today is fiscal year 2015 and beyond. We did not go before that because we didn't think it would be relevant to the discussion.
Yeah, good. So one of the things we'll be able to show in our webinar series is how to generate these pivot tables for your specific marketplace, whether it be IT, professional services, engineering, R&D, whatever the case may be, to be able to find the answers you're looking for. So simplified acquisition vendors. Here's a pivot table of the same sort that shows the spending by set-aside type. So if you're looking for service-disabled, veteran-owned small business set-asides, you could go over here and pull this up and find all the queries that were there. One of the other things we did, Jim, that I thought was kind of cool is this still small for NAICS code and vendor 8A program status. Those are not fields we find in USA Spending, but we've put them, we ran some calculations and built our own custom fields for the database.
That is correct. Those are dynamically generated values based on the data we have. Just because the vendor was small for the NAICS code when they obtained the contract or the award does not mean they're still small now. And we have the data to tell us what disposition that vendor is in now for that given NAICS code. Same with the vendor 8A program status. There are expiration dates that are available, but they're not in the FPDS record. You have to go to other places to get them. So through the beauty of a database, we were able to tell you whether a vendor who was in an 8A program for an 8A award is now no longer active in the 8A program, which means that vendor is not going to be a competitor. That can be useful information.
Yeah, really cool stuff. So again, we can identify who the players are, where the spending comes from, and give you the tools to be able to do very specific capture actions and know exactly who to call, both on the government side and on the and in industry with any specific vendor. So really cool stuff. And kind of the genesis for many of these reports and views have been the work that we've been doing with our clients, trying to help them build go-to-market plans. And small business, in our experience, just doesn't have the time or the resource to waste fumbling around in the dark or making lots of calls and hoping that you're knocking on the right doors. The data's there, but unfortunately, even for us who are experienced in these tools, a lot of these things are hard to learn. Jim, you took a look at that reporting engine on Beta SAM, and I think we quickly started tearing what little hair we had left out of our head, right?
That is a true statement. It is not an easy exercise to get through and to understand how to get it. And once you get it, you're left with a spreadsheet, which you still have to build all your pivots and all your queries. It is unknown to me why they made it so complicated. It is possible to figure out. That's not saying that it can't be done, but we all have limited time and limited resources to spend on a given activity. Why do we need to waste time? The other point here is I don't know of any of the commercial systems that allow you to export this much data. This is multiple hundreds of thousands of rows. And I think on the most, if you get a premium subscription to some of them, maybe you get 25, 50,000 rows as your max, but we're giving it to you all.
Yeah, and it's important to look at all of it so that you have that complete context, right? So, why these things have been so hard for so long. But back to one of your favorite sayings, Jim. What did you say? We're accelerating your path to the answers.
Yes, we're accelerating your path to the answers, and we're letting the data speak. The data has the answers, and you just have to have all of the data in one spot and start mining it. And Excel is a super powerful tool. Underneath it, we have a database. Databases are excellent, powerful tools. But for this purpose, we take the data from the database, put it in Excel, and allow you to come up with the answers that you need. There is no other way to do it fast, and we are creating something that accelerates your path to the answer.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So we want to put out an invitation to anyone in the Gov Con market. Come join us for our webinars. One ticket price gets you access to all 6 in this series, get you a discount on report products from our firm. And if you're interested, we certainly entertain, and we're still looking for folks to help us beta test the new Fed pipeline application. So lots of opportunity here. We're glad you joined us today. And We look forward to having you on our webinar series. We look forward to helping you grow your business. And if you have questions, please put them in the comments. You'll find a link to the webinar series where you can register. You'll find a link to that in the comments. And we look forward to seeing you on additional podcasts and hope you can join us.